How do you quickly get out of a rut? If you're struggling and feel slow and stuck and you're wobbling and you feel like life is just in a limbo land, this video is for you. And I've personally gone through this the last 2.5 years with so much of my life going into disarray since my separation. I have been in so many different ruts, one with my physique and not even wanting to take care of my body, having to really reinvent my business and figure out this new model to adapt to being a single dad half the time, managing all this financial loss from the assets being split up, losing our dream of going to the United States. There's been so many funks that I have gone through, and I knew that I would not ever become the person that completely checks out. I knew it was going to be a fight. I knew it was going to be hard, but I knew that if I could do a couple things that people were telling me to do, I'd be able to snap out of this rut. And that's what I want to share with you today. Let's dive in. So I'm going to break down a 5-step framework to rebooting your life, to get out of a rut. Number 1 is to recognize that you're in a rut. And don't judge yourself. You don't have to add any emotion to it. This is neutral. You're in a rut, big deal. You're normal. Even professional sporting teams go through ruts. It's a part of the game. In business, you're not always making more every single month. There's seasons where you go backwards. Same with your weight. You're not always losing weight. There's seasons where you stabilize the weight or you gain weight back. It's normal to be in a rut, and you just have to recognize it. I've been in a content rut for over 2.5 years, and I know why. I'm gonna help you understand how I'm gonna get out of it, but just to recognize that, hey, I am not firing on all cylinders, no big deal. Strategy number 2 is to reboot your identity. One of the big problems, especially us men, succumb to is that we find our identity in how much we accomplish, what we're doing, what we're making, how much we have. It's all about a quest. And some of this stuff is good. But the problem is when you find your identity and like, what do I do? What should I do? What should I do? Rather than who do I want to be? And what we want to start to do is ask yourself, when I'm in a funk, how do I want to show up? Do I want to spray all my loved ones and have a bad attitude and make sure everybody feels it? Or do I want to show up as somebody who's, hey, I got kicked in the you know what, but guess what? This is where we're at. And I want to walk through this humble, and I want to walk through this with grace, and I want to walk through this with compassion for myself, and I want to walk through this with understanding. Who do you want to be in this season? And that is what is going to inspire you to move through. For me, just opening up has given me a lot of fulfillment. And even shooting this video and just admitting that my content's been in a funk for 2.5 years, and to admit that, hey, business has not been thriving like it always used to be, like that takes a lot of courage. And that's what I want to be known for, somebody who is real and raw, not somebody who projects everything is always hunky-dory. I find more satisfaction in just being authentic than pretending that everything is perfect. So I'm focused on rebooting my identity, and that's what I want to encourage you to do. How do you want to show up in this season? 3, routine. We need to build a routine around quick wins. I have 6 daily disciplines which act as the foundation of being Bedrock. That's a coaching program that I have. And these daily disciplines include a couple things. Now, I'm not saying you have to do all 6 of these things, but I'm telling you that if you install some daily structure into your personal routine, you will start to experience wins. One of the daily disciplines is win the morning. Now, the morning is the first 30 minutes of the day. For me, that consists of waking up. When I say I'm gonna wake up, have my feet on the floor within 3 minutes of the alarm going off. That is a win, all right? That creates momentum. Now I'm in the bathroom. I take my selfie. Then I go to the scale. I put my scale weight into my app for my trainer, all right? 3 wins already in the first 5 minutes of the day. I come downstairs, I have my 1 liter of water. I put my Quest energy drink in there with my aminos and my electrolytes, all right? 4 wins. And then I do my COTC, Church of the City devotional. It's 10 minutes. I listen to it while I do a little scripture reading, do a little journaling. First 30 minutes of the day, I've already had, 6 wins. Boom, 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 boom. I'm already in momentum. I've already won the day, all right? So now, I'm carrying this energy of being unstoppable, undeniable, untouchable, or unbreakable, unbeatable. I'm bringing this energy into the day. How do you think I'm going to perform the rest of the day? So we need some quick wins. Number 4, reconnect to the old you. I had a pastor friend recently speak to me, and I was telling him about this content funk. He goes, "Hey, I know, I've been following you for years. I've seen it, it's obvious." And he said a couple things that really breathed life into me. And what he said was, 1, you were leading yourself. 2, you were leading the industry. 3, you were making bold moves. 4, you were taking big risks. 5, you were betting on yourself, meaning investing into yourself. And I kind of stopped doing a lot of those things. And I realized that the Vince that was creating great content wasn't because I had like better skills or had these better frameworks or the algorithm was more friendly. It was that I was showing up with more passion, more vulnerability, more realness. I was living an inspiring life, and people felt that. And I realized that is the fuel that drives great content. I want to add one more thing here. I think what happened with my story was that high achieving, super ambitious guy, because I didn't manage it. I think a lot of entrepreneurs are going to be able to relate to this, is that it ended up costing me. And now there is this fear of like trying to balance everything out so perfectly that I've overbalanced to the point where I've dulled my edge. And I think this happens to people that have been beat down. It's almost like somebody who gets injured in a sporting event. They never get back to training how they used to, because you're always kind of just wobbling a bit. You're just like a little worried that you might tweak it, you might rip it again. And so you just don't train with that same intensity because you haven't had that beating. And just because you've had a beating doesn't mean you have to beat out those traits that got you to where you're at. We just have to learn how to rebuild around what you've learned. And that's the process that I'm on. The 4th R is a reality document. And I learned this from my behavioral change friend. She's kind of a therapist, 𝗤𝘂𝗲𝗁, and she told me that, Vince, you're operating your life from a lot of pressure, a lot of expectation that you should be here and that you're behind and that you're average and that you are not living up to your full, but that's a lot of pressure. And a lot of us men use pressure to drive us forward. And pressure is not a sustainable fuel source. That is what I've learned. And what I've learned is that a more sustainable fuel source isn't pushing yourself from pressure, but from pushing yourself or being pushed from being proud of yourself. And not constantly looking at how far behind you are, I gotta catch up, but looking how far you've come from. Always measure backwards. That's a line from a book, The Gap in the Game, from Dan Sullivan. Always measure backwards. And this is what Annie taught me. She said, Vince, I want you to create a reality document. And in this reality document, you're gonna list out the different areas of your life: your physical life, your business life, your relational life, and your spiritual life. All right, you can change up the topics if you want, but you want to list out the main categories of your life. And then under each of them, you want to list out all of the things that you have accomplished, things that make you proud. And you want to bulletize them. And again, they can be as much as you want. So you can say, I have X amount of money in the bank account. I have 8% body fat, or I've run a sub 45-minute 10K, or I'm in great health. I don't have any injuries. I have a roof above my head. Like, you want to list out all of the things that you are proud of and that you are grateful for. And you want to operate from this feeling of thankfulness. And when you operate from this place of like, wow, I'm like so blessed and I don't have to prove anything to anybody, then you are going to have a more sustainable fuel source that is going to help you go the distance, because you're not always dictating your success based on what others are doing around you, but based on how far you've come. And that is far more rewarding when you measure backwards. So those are the 4 things that you can do to reboot your life, get yourself out of a rut, and I would love to know which one helped you most in the comments below. If there's any that I missed that you'd like to add, I'd love to hear them. I hope this inspired you to, again, level up, or you're gonna level off, and know that you can crash through these quitting points when you're in these ruts and feeling stuck, and just apply this 4-step framework the next time you're in this spot, and you will come through the other side a better version of yourself. Ciao, ciao.